Shalom, this is Daniel from Netivyah coming at you from the heart of Jerusalem during these interesting and critical times. When preparing these reports, I ask myself what to include and what not to, because there's so much going on. Dozens of drone and missile attacks, dozens of reports of Iranian attacks in the Gulf, dozens of comments by politicians and media sources, and so on. But I try to bring information that I think has significance beyond the report itself. So let's start. 9 people were killed in a missile strike in Beit Shemesh, about 30 minutes from where we are right now. Some were in a home next to the neighborhood shelter, some were in the stairwell leading to the shelter, and some were, unfortunately, in the shelter which suffered a direct hit, as well as one person in a synagogue nearby. Hezbollah has officially joined the campaign due to Khamenei's assassination and fired several rockets and drones from Lebanon towards Israel in the early hours of the morning. Some short-range targets along the border, some medium-range targets in the Haifa and the Carmel, and long-range targets to the center of the country. There were no casualties and no damage was caused. Yet, in response, the IDF launched a wave of airstrikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, in South Lebanon, and in the Dakhia, that is Hezbollah's quarter in Beirut. The focus of these targeted strikes were headquarters and ammunition depots. These were heavy bombings, mainly in Beirut, and some also less heavy bombings in South Lebanon, because we wanted to make sure that civilians were evacuated. So there were already 20 deaths reported in Lebanon. Among the senior Hezbollah leaders eliminated was Muhammad Ra'ed, head of the organization's political wing and chief parliamentarian. And as mentioned, the IDF issued an evacuation notice for more than 50 villages in South Lebanon. IDF spokesman says Hezbollah is destroying Lebanon and the IDF will respond forcefully and is prepared for a multi-front scenario and prepared to defend the state of Israel. Before the Israeli retaliation, President of Lebanon condemned Hezbollah's attacks. But hey, too little, too late. They had a chance to disarm them and they didn't. In Cyprus, an Iranian drone struck the British Akrotiri base. There were no casualties, but damage was caused. As a result, Britain evacuated some of its non-essential personnel. In Iran, combined American-Israeli attacks continued in areas of the country, among others in Tehran, Isfahan, Yazd, Khuzestan, and also in the city of Jurf an-Nasr. A NATO base in Iraq and American bases in Bahrain and Qatar were attacked with Iranian missiles last night. An American F-15 plane crashed in Kuwait. Its 2 pilots managed to bail out and were picked up by locals. One of them appears to have been injured in the shoulder. The reason for the plane crash is still unclear. Trump has said he estimates this regional war is expected to last 4 to 5 weeks, according to the New York Times. There is a very recent report of Iranian attacks on Saudi oil industries. This, of course, could be a huge deal, not just the oil price hike that we'll see in a moment, but also regarding who and how the response to this attack plays out. And due to the expansion of the war, oil prices rose sharply by 10%. And lastly, there are reports that France was sending their sole aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, to the region. But then a more recent report said they are not sending their aircraft carrier. And related to that, there was also a report that France, Germany, and England are entering the war. And then a more recent secondary report saying that they have jointly announced that they will defend their assets and allies but are not joining the war. You know, rah rah fighting spirit. Anyways, this of course is just part of the news. In addition, Israel is recruiting more reserves, preparing for the multi-front war, are not are saying that there will probably be a ground invasion into Lebanon that will include our very own Nir, and consequently we are continuing to support the IDF. Even yesterday and today we've had requests for gear and assistance. So please pray for protection of Israeli civilians, Israeli soldiers, Iranian civilians, the Gulf state civilians. Pray for the American soldiers, and pray for the leadership of Israel and the United States to guide this war to its proper conclusion. In Yeshua's name, Shalom.